kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you so much. May we have a word of prayer? Volunteer for a word of prayer? Yeah, she is. Please come.
Let us humble ourselves and pray. Heavenly Father, we bless your name for such an occasion. We thank you as Ugandans, Lord. Above all, we thank you for the partners and for everyone who is for persons with disability. Lord, we pray that you bless our nation, Uganda. Bless ministers. Bless all those, O King of Glory, who advance your cause. We pray for this occasion that all will be well, and may we dialogue, may we celebrate the International Disability Day. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you so much for that beautiful prayer. You may take your seats, members. And for those who are still having your meals, please feel free to continue with your meal. The Honorable Minister, we have been joined by the Honorable Minister of State for Disability and Elderly Affairs, the Honorable Sarah Kanyike, who is now holding fort for the main portfolio of Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development. You could tap your table if you're not able to clap. We also have here with us the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Mr. Agre David Chibeng. You're most welcome, sir. For those of you who didn't know, Mr. Chibenge is still a very new Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, but he has taken on the issues at the various levels, including those for the disability fraternity, hands-on, and I'd like to appreciate the new energy he has brought at the ministry and taken us off immediately. We also have the Director of Social Protection at the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Mr. James Sebitu, here with us. That's the docket where the issues of all issues of disability and matters of social protection, talk about SAGE, all those programs fall under the docket that is led by Director James Sebitu there. I'd like to thank the honorable members of Parliament who have turned up for this occasion. I can see here the Honorable Alex Indezi, who is always with us. We appreciate you so much, sir. We also have Honorable Helen Asamo, who is here with us. We'd like to thank you so much for sparing time off your campaign trail to be here with us and grace the occasion. We appreciate you. I'd like to thank you, the honorable MPs who have joined us. We have been joined by leaders from various organizations for persons with disabilities. I know we have the chairperson, National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, who is here with us. Thank you so much. We have the chairperson, National Council for Persons with Disabilities. We have development partners. We have a team that has been doing a lot of studies around issues of persons with disabilities in the country, and they have come up with very critical findings that are redefining the way the country handles and addresses issues to do with persons with disabilities. Indeed, those studies have shown that there are so many critical areas we have been missing in terms of government programming. So I would like to thank everybody who has been involved in the various studies that we've done. For now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me now venture into the speeches for today. And first on the line is to invite the chairperson, National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda to come and speak to us. Thank you so much.
Our guest of honor for today's celebration, the Honorable Minister of State for Disability and Elderly, the Honorable Hajat Sarah Kanyike, Honorable Members of Parliament present, development partners, commissioners, and other officials from the ministry, department and agencies, local government officials, fellow board members, staff of NUDIPU, representatives from organizations of persons with disability, members from the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the National Union of the Disabled Persons of Uganda, and on my own behalf, I have the pleasure and privilege to sincerely welcome all of you to the International Day of Persons with Disability. A special welcome goes to the guest of honor, Honorable Minister of State for Disability and Elderly, who is celebrating with us this IDD today. Let me take this opportunity to thank the government of Uganda and the National Organizing Committee, development partners, and other sponsors for your support towards this celebration. The Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development for coordinating the National Organizing Committee, and the meetings, and also the stakeholders for their technical and financial support that has enabled us to celebrate this day today. I wish to thank all members of Parliament, councillors, National Organization of People with Disability, and the disability activists for their continued support to NUDIPU and our advocacy engagement. In the same spirit, I cannot forget the contribution of the Board of Directors of NUDIPU, championing the cause for disability in their areas of operation. Ladies and gentlemen, the IDD is a United Nations sanctioned event that is celebrated internationally on 3rd December annually. It is a day intended, among others, to celebrate the extraordinary potential, achievements, and contributions of persons with disability towards development, to promote the rights and well-being of persons with disability in all spheres of the society and development, to enhance the understanding and acceptance of persons with disability and disability issues, to advocate for improved persons with disabilities well-being, and shifting the negative culture, political and social and economic attitudes, and to draw the attention to the benefits of an inclusive and accessible society for all people, including persons with disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme for this year's IDD has adjusted to suit Uganda's context, calling for action to protect and promote the rights of persons with disability during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is by itself advocates for enabling conditions that will promote and protect the rights of persons with disability during and in the post-COVID situation, to enable persons with disability to achieve the Sustainable Development Agenda of leaving no one behind. Our guest of honor, the global crisis of COVID-19 has shifted persons with disability hardest. As we celebrate this day, NUDIPU commends the efforts of the government of Uganda directed towards curbing the pandemic and the achievements so far registered despite the challenges with limited consideration of the needs of persons with disability in COVID interventions. It is vital to reflect on some key COVID-19 and disability-related issues that have affected persons with disability, as NUDIPU and other organizations of persons with disability continue advocating for the rights and dignity of persons with disability. Access to information, Madam Honorable Minister, the information about COVID-19 and guidelines have not been accessible to some categories of persons with disability, like those with the visual impairment and persons with low vision. This has led to many of persons with disability being tortured during the curfew hours. An inclusive learning on television. Honorable Minister, televised education programs do not cater for learners with hearing and visual impairment. Since they do not provide for sign language interpreters for the deaf and large print for those with low vision. The other issue is about health care system, Honorable Minister. Persons with disability have limited access to proper health care due to inaccessible health facilities and non-inclusive planning for staffing in the health facilities, for instance, lack of sign language interpreters, among others. Poor means of livelihood. Persons with disability have suffered a lot during this COVID-19. The means of livelihood have been narrowed down as their businesses collapsed and they are struggling with survival. Failure to understand disability by security personnel. This has led to torture of many persons with disability, especially during curfew at night, because they may not respond to the question due to hearing impairment, and because they have mental illness and unable to understand the situation at hand. These categories of persons with disabilities continue to be tortured by the security personnel. In summary, Honorable Minister, our guest of honor, with your presence in that portfolio, we have high hope that disability issues shall be channeled and followed up to the effective action through inclusive planning. This could be ignited by initiating comprehensive research on the impact of COVID-19 on the lives of persons with disability in Uganda for effective planning during and in the post-COVID-19 era. Promoting inclusive access to all services by all persons with disability in Uganda during and after COVID-19 pandemic and other emerging situations. Ensuring mainstreaming of disability in COVID-19 action plan and meaningful consultation with the disability fraternity through their organizations. Government coming up with clear guidelines to be used by security personnel during operations and enforcement of curfew to enable protection from torture and inhuman treatment of persons with disability. Ensuring that the National Task Force on COVID-19 mainstream disability concerns submitted by NUDIPU and other organizations in the different aspects of programming and advocating for persons with disability to be specifically included in the post-COVID-19 initiative and programs of government to improve on their economic livelihood. Lastly, Honorable Minister, successful celebration of the IDD depends on the financial contribution of stakeholders, including government of the Republic of Uganda. We appeal to the government to gazette this important day and always allocate budgetary commitments to ensure colorful and annual celebrations like for the International Youth Day, the International Women's Day, among others. With the above remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to wish everyone a happy International Day for Persons with Disabilities celebration and appeal that we continue taking precautions against the COVID-19 infection. Honorable Minister, allow me, before I leave the podium, to introduce my board members of NUDIPU, and I will begin with my vice chairperson, Madame Arero Kate from Kotido. She represents the Northern Uganda on the board. Mr. Sabira Mustafa is the Secretary General at the board, and he represents Eastern Uganda. He comes from Kapchorwa. The other one is Mr. Otim Robinson. He represents people with epilepsy, and he comes from Oyam. Next to him is Mr. Mugisha Sam. He's our board treasurer, and he represents Uganda Parents of People with Uganda Parents of Children with Disability, and he comes from Kitagwenda. Next to him is the Ajat Hafwas Narubega. He represents Central Region, and he comes from Kampala. I also have Mr. Yona Waswa. He represents people with deaf blindness. He comes from Busia. There is Robert Nkwangu, who represents the deaf on board. He is Kampala-based, but he comes from Masaka. There is also Sewagude Robert, who represents the youth on the board, and he comes from Wakiso. I hope I have not left out any board member. There is another one called Apin Judith. She represents people with mental illness, and she comes from Soloti. Honorable Minister, I want also to introduce to you the chairperson of NAUDU, National Union of Women with Disability, Madame Rose Achayo, and also the chairperson of LAPID, Uganda Legal Action on people with Disability, Madame Lola Kanusu. I also want to introduce the chairperson of Show Abilities Uganda. I think he has left. Madam Honorable Minister, lastly, I want to introduce my predecessor, Madame Knight Grace from Kabale. With that, I beg to end here, but to thank the participants for this year's celebrations for God and my country. Sorry, Madam Chairperson, Madam Honorable Minister, I also want to introduce our CEO of NUDIPU, Mr. Edson Indirabakunzi. He's the technical at NUDIPU and his team. Thank you so much for God and my country.
Thank you so much, the chairperson, National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda. Key points in his remarks are being taken note of. Without wasting much time, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite next the chairperson, National Council for Persons with Disabilities, to speak to us. As the event goes on, to let you know that we are going to be joined by one of our key speakers today, who will be joining us through the digital platform online, and that will be a representative of the development partners. We hope to be joined by Madam Betty Ikanza, who is the program manager ESP2 at DFID. I hope the technology people have already gotten her through online. Thank you. Let's now listen to the chairperson, National Council for Persons with Disabilities.
I want to request that I lower my mask a bit so that we can speak at ease. Thank you so much. Our dear chief guest, who is the State Minister for Disability and Elderly, our members of Parliament present, council members represented here, representatives of ministries, departments, and agencies present, representatives of organizations of persons with disabilities, and the civil society organizations, the chairperson of NODIPO, who has just left this platform, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to this day when we celebrate our birthday. And I want to think really that this is our birthday. From what Honorable Ndez was saying, from 1992, it's about 28 years. And I can say we are surely celebrating the 28th birthday. I congratulate you upon reaching this day. I want really to greet all of you in the name of Almighty Allah, and I want to wish you very good celebrations as you listen. First and foremost, I want to thank His Excellency for filling the gap. Members of the disability fraternity have always yearned to have a direct minister. And I want to say that we thank him for appointing Mama Sarah Kanyike Honorable to fill the gap for our ministry so that we can directly now communicate to State House. I also want, in addition, to say that I also want to congratulate the new PS, and it is not a small thing, because if you have substantive people always, some decisions may not be taken as they would be. But I want to thank and congratulate you, Mr. PS, for accepting to work with the Minister of Gender. This is the group that you are going to work with, and we shall be at your door every time. But we request that you accept us. I just want to give an overview of the council. I would like really to say that council came into existence by Act of Parliament in 2003, and just this year we had amendments of the bill, and again we have been re-established in 2020. So we have a new act, and this has been a big achievement because it has catered for so many things. I want to say that this council has been mandated to monitor activities of persons with disabilities, to monitor government ministries, to monitor agencies and departments on inclusion of issues of persons with disabilities. And we report, in the same way, we report issues concerning persons with disabilities to all these departments and ministries. I also want to say that our composition of the council, we have a national council, which is well represented from all regions. Two persons, male and female, from each region, and here we have recognized the 4 regions that are represented. I want to say that we have also one youth representing the youth. We also have a parent with who represents parents with children with disabilities. We have one representative from the Department of Employers, that's the Uganda Federation of Employers. We have members from different ministries, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Ministry of Gender is also represented. We have also ministries like the local government, Ministry of Transport and Works. All these ones they are represented. But we have purpose why these people come on board, as you have also been aware of what happens. And then we also have lower councils. That is the district councils, the city councils, the municipal councils, also spread down there, up to the sub-county level. And the formation is similar like it is at national level. While you are the appointing authority at national level of the council members, at district level, the chairpersons of the districts do the same. Mama, a lot has been said about COVID-19, and I know we have officers here who have been taking minutes, but has been really, it looks like all of us were moving in the same direction. All researchers are talking about the same things. How persons with disabilities have suffered during this time. They have lost jobs because of the lockdowns and also the closure of some industries where they were trying to get some income. In education, many things have also mentioned: accessibility of materials, the formats, no braille, no what. It is until, I think, yesterday that at least some formats in braille have been provided for children going to school. Teaching on radios, TVs has its own challenges for persons, especially those who are blind and those who have hearing challenges. So some of these issues, Mama, will be given to you because of limited time. I want to move forward, but everything has been documented and I have submitted my report to you. I want to specifically summarize my speech by saying that the task we have and our request to you is that as we have been celebrating the International Day for Persons with Disabilities, at one time when we were in Kamwenge, His Excellency himself attended, and I want to say 2 things were born on that day. One was that because we are crying a lot, that we are not doing very well economically, he promised, he actually requested that you are crying over economic empowerment. Why don't you come up with a circle that I can support, that I will know that now my people are under this circle, and therefore we can support you. We actually, as National Council, we have spearheaded the process, and we did so many consultations at regional level. We moved through regions, the 4 regions, We got views from the people. We came to national level. We also got views from the people. And the consensus is that we agreed to form a national circle that would really empower persons with disabilities economically. Now, our request is that you help us lobby Ministry of Cooperatives, Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives, and then Ministry of Finance, Planning and the Economic Development to strengthen this circle, to fund this circle, especially because we need money for capacity building of the members. Actually, we formed a board that is taking on this task. So all those ones require your support. Mama, on that very day, we also reminded His Excellency about the motorcycles that he pledged to give to the members of the district. This has taken long. Again, when we went to, this was Nakaseke, the vice president came and we really put this to him. I want to say that possibly there are other people who have delayed the president to fulfill this pledge. And I want to request that now that you are a mother who has come in very fresh, I know we can push this to the end. And I want to say, PWDs have been complaining that we give to His Excellency almost 99% of our votes. When they see yellow bicycles in the villages, they wonder where they are. When they see motorcycles for Gisos, and yet Gisos are more than the number of councillors for persons with disabilities at district level, they're also wondering. Now, LOCs, I have also heard that LOC 5s are going to be given new vehicles. You wonder how many motorcycles can be bought from Wanuka. So I want to say that be there to stand with persons with disabilities, because I know you will always access His Excellency. Mama, I know you have been in office for a few months, but through your travels, you might have heard, you might have heard persons with disabilities saying that politics has become a very heavy task. Our people, especially members of parliament, move the whole country looking for votes. They move to canvass for the votes. And this has been very tedious. I want to say, as National Council, with consultation with other stakeholders, we sat down and decided, actually we have passed a resolution, that instead of the National College to elect members of parliament, we want the members of parliament to be elected from a regional level. And I want to say, this will go a long way in sorting out other issues, because we must have defined constituencies. Uganda, as small as it may be, it is bigger than the way you look at us. And this also limits new entrants that would want really to enter the politics. I want to thank you and your office, especially the PS, the former PS, for really helping us acquire the Kireka facility. Members, as a result of the new act that was amended and the president assented to it, it put all property under Uganda Foundation of the Blind in the hands of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. This is not a small thing. We have already shifted to Kireka. Don't look for us from Ntinda. We are in Kireka at that rehabilitation center. But this has been a big job by many stakeholders. Members of Parliament, I appreciate you so much because we have been on your bumper. Mr. Honorable Ndezi, I remember I've been on your desk every time in the Parliament. I want to thank you and thank you so much. Before I forget, Honorable Minister and our chief guest, may I request Beatrice and the Secretariat members stand up for recognition. Members of the Secretariat, that is the Executive Secretary who presented here, and I want to thank you here in public for that report that you presented. It was well researched. Thank you so much. May I request members of the National Council who are here to stand up? I know you may have also been invited from a different angle, but you still remain a member of the council. Stand up. This is Honorable Helen Asamo, representing Parliament. Thank you for all the contributions and the speech that you gave. That is Edgar Wire from the West, actually represents people, the deaf. It's fine. Mr. Tria is a professional in disability issues. Madam Knight Grace is my vice chairperson. I want to welcome you and also thank you for attending. Mr. Nyeko Jole from the Northern region, thank you for coming. Madam Judith, thank you for coming. Is coming from Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. This is Waswa, is also a member of our council. I have this is Madam from Ministry of Gender, has just come to replace Mr. Masava. Anybody I have left out? Madam Chozira, my former chairperson of the council, thank you for coming. You are my neighbor there. We are seated together, but thank you for coming. I want to say this, that thank you for God and my country. I'm called Juma Molesa.
A round of applause, members, for the chairperson, National Council for Persons with Disabilities. Thank you so much, sir, for those remarks. Without wasting much time, the technology people, are we on? I now have barely 5 minutes to go through this before we invite the Honorable Minister to speak to us. If online is not ready, I now want to invite the Honorable Alex Indezi, who is the chairperson of the Gender Committee of Parliament and also MP representing persons with disabilities for Central Region. You're most welcome, Honorable Alex. He will speak to us and he thereafter invite the Honorable Minister to address this occasion.
Guest of honor, all members of Parliament, Parliament Secretary, Director for Social Protection, Commissioners, representatives of Nudupu, Chairperson of Nudupu, Chairperson of the Council for Disability, chairs and leaders of DPOs represented here, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. Guest of honor, I warmly welcome you to this year's International Day of Disabilities celebrations being held here at Salton Hotel. I am happy to inform you that the technical wing of the Ministry for Gender, Labour and Social Development has done a very superb job in as far as preparation and organization of this event is concerned. I think the participants have spoken for themselves. It is a job well done. We are celebrating within the context of COVID, very difficult situation, but I'm so happy to report you that this has been one of the best well-organized International Day for Disabilities celebrations. Guest of honor, allow me to once again congratulate you upon your appointment by His Excellency the President as our Minister responsible for disability and elderly. Also, allow me to press it on record that in the 3rd week of September, you join the deaf community in this country to celebrate International Week of the Deaf in Masaka. I will come back from Masaka. Guest of honor, I believe this is a maiden event, public event for Permanent Secretary when it comes to interacting with the disability committee. I will come you, our new Permanent Secretary. I am informed reliably that you are not new to our sector. You know a lot about our sector. So I hope that we shall continue to work with you to advance the rest of our people in this country. My only job is to invite you, guest of honor, but allow me to emphasize 3 or 4 issues. The chair of the Receptor Council has so ably presented the issue of motorcycles. Motorcycles, presented by His Excellency the President. I'm personally tired of it. Almost every year we include it in our report. Wherever you go, Arua, Moroto, Kabare, they talk about this issue, so I'm tired. I wish we could get about close it. Either we put this in our budget for next financial year, or we ask the President to retract the pledge. But I wish we can get about close it. Second, before you came, my sister, Ona Samuel, reminded me that the money for special grant we are talking about here was got at the level of appropriation in the budget committee. You know, on Minister, this is not a safe way of getting things. It is very, very risky. The right stage should be at the ministry level and at cabinet level. When you come to appropriation at the parliamentary level, budget committee, each sector wants to defend its own share of money. You must be able to milk money from one sector and push it to one sector. It's very difficult. So, best of honor, I think Permanent Secretary is also listening very carefully. James is listening very carefully. We want this 10 billion shillings to come in your budget that will be submitted in Parliament. Let the 10 billion shillings for special grant for next financial year come in your budget that will be in Parliament. No waiting for us to go and get the money from the budget committee. Last year, before you came, guest of honor, I know you have been very busy, but you missed a lot. You had a very beautiful day. We had a very wonderful day. A lot of interesting testimonies, a lot of ideas, a lot of lessons. So I hope our technical people are going to compile a nice and useful report to be able to update you so that we can use the lessons we have learned here today. And now turn to my specific job. Guest of honor, I'm honored to invite you. I request you to come and address this event and the whole country on this important day of celebrating the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. I beg to invite you.
Honorable members of Parliament, the chairperson and members of National Council for Persons with Disabilities, development partners, representatives of organizations of persons with disabilities, representatives of ministries, departments, and agencies, the disability fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. On behalf of the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, I welcome you all to the scientific commemoration of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities 2020. I convey the apologies of Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, who is unable to join us today due to other competing priorities. Ladies and gentlemen, unlike other years, where we have commemorated this day with many of our colleagues, this year due to COVID-19 and in observance of the standard operating procedures set to curb the virus, we are unable to meet as we have always done, and we have opted for the scientific commemoration. I therefore request the general public to join the commemoration on our online platforms, which have been made available under television live cast. Ladies and gentlemen, the UN General Assembly proclaimed 3rd December as the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, and the day was first observed on December 3rd, 1992. Since then, Uganda has annually joined the rest of the world on this day to celebrate and acknowledge the capacities of persons with disabilities in contributing towards the development of the country. According to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics of 2014, the disability prevalence rate is 12.5% of the overall population. Of these, 49.26 are males and 50.74 are females. The census estimates that the highest form of disability are difficulty in seeing, which is 6.5%, difficulty in remembering, 5.4%, difficulty in walking, 4.5%, and difficulty in hearing, 3.1%. Ladies and gentlemen, the Uganda Functional Difficulties Survey of 2017 further established that the most common preventable cause of disability for adults were accidents at home, which is at 7%, malaria at 4%, and road traffic accidents at 4%. For children aged 2 to 17 years, the most common causes were congenital, that is from birth, or because of sickness, such as malaria at 10% and measles at 5%. Ladies and gentlemen, it should be noted that the major causes of disability among children are preventable through immunization and improved health-seeking behaviors. I therefore encourage parents and caregivers to be conscious and prevent and provide adequate care for children to reduce cases of disability due to preventable causes. The theme for this year's commemoration is Protect and Promote the Rights of Persons with Disabilities During COVID-19 Pandemic, a call for action. This theme was purposefully selected to draw attention to the current situation of COVID-19 pandemic and how it has affected persons with disabilities, the need to protect their rights and attend to their needs during this period. The theme also embraces the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, of leaving no one behind, which underscores the importance of removing obstacles to protection and promotion of the rights of persons with disabilities so as to protect them against the effects of coronavirus. COVID-19 has had great negative impact on persons with disabilities, as many of them have missed out on information dissemination, both public and private, because of the inaccessible formats within which they are disseminated. Many of them have lost livelihoods due to loss of employment, among others. This year's theme, therefore, calls on stakeholders to ensure that persons with disabilities access information in accessible formats and communication materials on how they can protect themselves from the virus as well as other infectious diseases. The theme therefore emphasizes the need to mainstream needs of persons with disabilities in all COVID-19 related plans and interventions. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to update you on the ongoing developments by government in relation to promotion and protection of the rights of persons with disabilities. Number one, enactment of the Persons with Disabilities Act of 2020. Pursuant to Article 35 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, government enacted the Persons with Disabilities Act of 2020, which is the key legislation in relation to protection of the rights of persons with disabilities. The Act has been aligned to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which Uganda ratified in 2008. Number 2, to enhance accessibility of the Act. The ministry has gone ahead to produce the Act in accessible formats, that is Braille, audiovisual, with sign language interpretation. And development of regulations for the Act is underway to ease operations of the law. The government has gone ahead to review the National Policy on Disability of 2006. The ministry has finalized the review of the National Policy on Disability to align the policy to new and emerging developments in disability. The revised policy is expected to be presented to Cabinet in February 2021. We've gone further. Number 4, situation analysis study on persons with disabilities in Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, you attest to me that we have been having a very big challenge with data on persons with disabilities in Uganda. I'm happy to inform you that the ministry conducted a situational analysis study on persons with disabilities in Uganda. This study will go a long way in guiding government and other stakeholders to fully understand the situation of disability in Uganda and target interventions that address the real needs of persons with disabilities. I therefore encourage you to utilize this study to design programs that are informed by evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, to further consolidate data collection, the ministry has begun the process of developing a national disability management information system. This system will capture data on all disability aspects and will facilitate monitoring and evaluation of government programs for persons with disabilities. We've gone further to have the National Special Grant for Persons with Disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, during the similar commemorations last year in Iganga District, we launched the National Special Grants for Persons with Disabilities. At that time, we had an allocation of Uganda shillings 2.1 billion. This grant is in addition to the already existing special grant for persons with disabilities, which is dispersed directly to districts through social sector development grant. In the financial year 2019-2020, the ministry was able to disburse grants to 13 districts, benefiting 198 groups of 1,583 persons with disabilities. This disbursement was hampered by COVID-19 lockdown, which limited submission of files from districts for funding. This financial year 2020-2021, the National Special Grant has been enhanced to Uganda shillings 5 billion shilling. Our target is to provide grants to 800 groups, targeting 5,600 persons with disabilities. Already, 143 groups have received these grants, and an additional 620 groups are under verification to receive grants before the end of this year. I therefore urge you leaders to mobilize and sensitize persons with disabilities to form groups to benefit from this grant. Ladies and gentlemen, with the COVID-19 pandemic still with us, the ministry plans to continue supporting persons with disabilities in a comprehensive manner to ensure that they go through this phase of the pandemic with resilience. The ministry is already conducting a socio-economic study to understand the impacts of COVID-19 on the population, especially in relation to labor and employment. Such studies, in addition, the ones of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, will guide the ministry on how to design interventions that address the real needs of persons with disabilities in the COVID-19 era. Further still, the ministry will ensure that disabilities issues are mainstreamed across sectors for inclusive implementation of the standard operating procedures, taking into account the peculiar needs of persons with disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, Allow me to thank all partners who have collaborated with the ministry in the preparation of this day, who include but not limited to Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office of the British High Commission, Irish Aid, National Council for Persons with Disabilities, UNFPA, Uganda Society for Disabled Children, Children at Risk Action Network, Site Savers, Humanity and Inclusion, Bible Society of Uganda, World Vision, Cheshire Services Uganda, the National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, UNI Disability Organization, media houses, and many others for their continued support in the area of disability and for committing resources to enable persons with disabilities enjoy their rights. I take this opportunity before I launch, I just want to respond. All issues have been captured from the chairperson NUDIP, from the chairperson National Council for Persons with Disability, and very many issues are found on desk. But I want to promise you, as I promised you in the National Council meeting I attended, I'm going to take on all these issues. Motorcycles being in the lead. We are going to make sure that I've been whispering to my peers that we need to make sure that this pledge is fulfilled. So I want to assure you, I'm taking on all the issues I found on my desk, motorcycles inclusive, to see that this pledge is fulfilled. That one I promise. I take this opportunity to launch the Braille version of the Persons with Disabilities Act 2020 and the situational analysis study on persons with disabilities in Uganda. I wish you fruitful commemorations. I say all this for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Members, a thunderous round of applause for the Minister here. May we have the opportunity to have this launched. May I request the Permanent Secretary to come up? May I request Honorable Alex Indezi to join the Honorable Minister? Honorable Helena Samu, Chairperson of the Council, Chairperson Nudipu, please come join the Honorable Minister in launching these key documents. For those who don't know, the documents we are launching right now on the podium is the Braille version of the Persons with Disabilities Act 2020. Braille version means this is a version of the document that persons with visual impairment can use to read. It's very important. It's very important for inclusivity matters, and therefore would like to thank the ministry and all the partners that have made this possible. We'd like to thank you very much for this key achievement. Okay, we may now have the minister sign off. There we go. The minister is signing off as a symbol, an act of launching the Braille version of Persons with Disabilities Act 2020. A round of applause from the fraternity there. May we now have the situation analysis report on persons with disabilities in Uganda.